rejoice. It is that time of year again. Zach, Dean, Chris Boyle, who can't stop laughing for some reason.
No.
This is our third take. We're going to get it right this time. It's been about 9 months since we were last in this room, and hasn't gotten much better. In fact, it's gotten markedly worse. But we're still here because high school football is back for one and only week of the preseason, and that starts Thursday with a couple of games that we're going to be at. Seabreeze here and Matanzas at home. What do you see out of those two teams this year?
Well, you want to see of Seabreeze and Matanzas. You want to see the kind of growth under for Matanzas, certainly changing an offense. You want to see the positive steps. They want to do a lot of positive plays.
Right.
They want to avoid going backwards offensively. So Don Matthews takes over the program. He was the defensive coordinator last year.
Matanzas, yes.
Correct, at Matanzas. Seabreeze, you're looking to continue to go forward. They won 4 games last year. I think they caught a lot of people by surprise. They beat New Smyrna Beach.
Yep, that was a big win.
They were in the playoff race realistically until the end of October, which I don't think anybody really saw. So as long as they've got a whole new roster, lots of guys that have not started for this team before. Mm-hmm. So you want to see them get some experience and really kind of hit the ground running because they get a really tough test in Spruce Creek in the first game of the regular season.
Well, one person who believes in Seabreeze, and that's Godwin Kelly.
Godwin is an unapologetic Seabreeze alum.
Sand Crabs taking down Mainland. Book it, says Godwin Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the Thursday games. Well, Thursday night football. Don't know if we're going to have the Color Rush uniforms for those or not. But Friday games are exciting as well. The big one, and it's a fun one, Mainland and Apopka. Mainland coming off a year in which they hit some milestones, beating the Miami team. But I still think, by and large, it was kind of a quote-unquote down year for Mainland last year, just by the standards they've set in the prior years. What do we expect out of the Bucks this year?
Well, they're going to go back to more of a traditional Mainland-looking offense with a dual-threat quarterback. They're going to start the year with Teron Keith, who's a junior. He was a running back last year. Has played at the Pop Warner level. Has a solid arm. Is able to control the offense. They're massive up front. They've got 2 tackles in Travis Robinson at 6'5", 330, and Shane Brennan at 6'8", 305. They're just absolutely enormous. Their offense really got stuck last year going against Apopka. It took them a few drives to really get anything going.
They were down like 20-0 in that game.
They were. They did play well in the second half of that game, and I think you will see Mainland try to attack early and really kind of set the tone. They looked pretty sharp against Flagler in a scrimmage over the weekend. So I think for Mainland, again, the district is theirs for the taking. And you want to see them continue to make a real positive impact once they get into the postseason.
You're going to be at that game. I'm going to be in West Volusia. This is a fun one. This is the second time in 3 years these two teams have played in the preseason, DeLand and University, and it's kind of interesting. I remember when I first came to the News Journal, I covered this game in the preseason, and University was all the way up here, and DeLand was down here. It seems like it's maybe flipped a little bit, or at least really evened out. DeLand's a team that I know a lot of people are high on this year. University without Lorenzo Lingard, but they do bring back some pieces. What is your sense on those two?
Well, I think DeLand, there's more excitement about DeLand this year than any year that I've been around here, realistically. They've got a lot of talent. They've got Deontay Marks, who's committed to Florida.
Yep.
They've got Damaris Bellamy, who's committed to USF. They add Traquan McNair from Daytona. They bring back Avante Williams, who's the number 1 rated safety in the 2020 class. There's a lot of good players. There's a lot of good players at DeLand. University is scrappy. They are going to try to, they're going to try to win with power football. They're not going to change who they are. They're going to keep with the single wing offense. They're going to have a very interesting dynamic with Lorenzo Lingard not being there, but they do have a few guys they like. Kyle Mehiam, who's a junior, a freshman by the name of Jalen Brown, they were really high on. Mm-hmm. It's going to be a similar looking University team, but you do wonder, with Lingard there, where the productivity is going to come from. Is it going to be a group effort, or is there going to be one guy that emerges of that group? One
of the guys that is going to emerge, and already has emerged in this area, now I think that his skill set's really going to be put on a big-time level, is Marvin Scott. And Spruce Creek playing Seminole Friday night. That's an away game at Seminole. If you're going there, bring sunglasses because the sun is brutal. What do you think out of Spruce Creek this year? Again, kind of a similar situation as University. Lost some big-time pieces, lost some weapons, especially the quarterback. Mm-hmm. Bring in Marvin Scott. They get Hayden Flood back. They lose some pieces on defense. What is our sense on Spruce Creek?
I think people are overlooking Spruce Creek to a degree. You bring back the leading receiver in the county. You bring back you have a guy added to that team that's run for almost 4,800 yards the last 3 seasons, and he looked like he fit seamlessly into that team. They're going to be kind of what they've been defensively. They've been typically undersized but very disciplined. It's going to be a little bit of a culture shock with DJ Mayo, their defensive coordinator now at Atlantic.
Yep.
But there's a couple of guys you can really rely on offensively to where the quarterbacks, whether it's Andrew Aceable or Nick Cristiano, they're going to have players that they can count on. They're going to have guys that they know that they can get the football to, and they're going to make some dangerous plays happen out of it.
And Andy Price is going to call a good game, always has. And now he's got a running back who I think a lot of people have always thought that if he had a running back like Marvin Scott, it'd be interesting to see what he could do with that.
And on the flip side, I think people have wondered what Marvin Scott would do at a big program,
right.
And now we're going to find out. And if the game against Leesburg in the spring is any indicator,
he'll be all right.
He'll be just fine.
Quickly, bunch more games on the slate Friday night. What games are you going to keep your eye on?
Well, the big one I think that is going to be Pine Ridge. They're actually playing a regular season game on Friday. They go up to Georgia. They play Ware County, a playoff team from last year in Georgia. The way it works is because the Georgia high school schedule actually begins on the 17th. It's going to count as a regular season for one team. It'll count as a regular season game for Pine Ridge as well. And they come back, and they're not going to have a week off. They're going to come right back next week and play Father Lopez, another interesting game. So that's one game I certainly have my eye on. Another one to me I think is going to be Atlantic going up to Crescent City. It'll be interesting to see what how they respond, how they look without Ty Barong on the field.
Right.
When he comes back, but.
Out at least a month, probably.
Yeah, they carry some momentum over from the spring. They've still got some nice players there as well.
Right.
It should be a really fun, opening weekend for the preseason. Then once we get to the regular season, all bets are off.
All bets are off. One thing that is not off is our weekends anymore because high school football is back starting this Thursday and Friday. We're going to have you covered in Seabreeze and Matanzas on Thursday, and then obviously Friday. Chris will be at the Mainland Apopka game. I'll be out west at the DeLand University game. I'm Zach Dean. It's Chris Boyle. High school football preseason classics this week.